Well, as it's been reported, some ICE agents could soon be leaving Minneapolis. This comes as President Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, just met with Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Homan has taken over the president's immigration crackdown in Minneapolis. Joining me now is Washington Stand reporter Casey Harper, who's been following today's top stories. Casey, can you walk us through what is happening there in Minnesota?
Sure, Tony. Thanks. So what we're seeing is Tom Homan playing a role he's not necessarily known for, which is being the steady, gentle hand to rein in really the chaos that we're seeing in Minneapolis. Of course, Tom Homan has been the go-to ICE official for President Trump, often doing really architecting the strategy and doing the media appearances to sell the vision for these deportations to the American people. And many think he's done a pretty good job of doing that. But as you mentioned, things in Minneapolis have gotten out of hand. That clip you played from Chuck Schumer is showing just how much pushback the Trump administration is getting. And it's not just from lifelong Democrats like Chuck Schumer. So in response to that, they're removing the CBP official George Bovino and replacing him with Tom Homan to see if they can get this chaos under control. Of course, we had the recent killings of both Renee Good and Alex Preddy, both on video, which have further really tragic things that have further inflamed these tensions and made it a top focus for the White House. In fact, here's what White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt had to say.
Americans overwhelmingly want exactly what President Trump is delivering: strong borders and strict immigration enforcement against the worst illegal aliens, of which there are still hundreds of thousands to deport from the interior of our country. The most peaceful way to carry out this vital public safety mission is for Republicans and Democrats to do it together, and for state and local law enforcement to work together with federal law enforcement.
So, Tony, when President Trump took office, he had really a moral mandate to engage in these widespread deportations. But I think what's going on in Minneapolis, especially these on-camera shootings that I mentioned, are in danger of eroding that support, and the White House is sensing that, hence these policy changes we're seeing in Minneapolis.
Very interesting. There were concerns over statements that were being made about the latest shooting involving Preddy that had a gun on him, had a concealed carry permit. And that actually has some Second Amendment supporters up in arms.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, as I mentioned, it's not just Chuck Schumer who's been pushing back on what's going on in Minneapolis. It's some on the right as well, one who are concerned with sort of the aggressive nature of some of the deportations, but even comments that came out of the White House suggesting that these protesters didn't have a right to be armed while protesting. Now, of course, there's sort of a common sense of if you're armed and you're around federal law enforcement, there's obeying lawful orders and being smart and things like that. But to say that they didn't have a right to be armed really raised a lot of eyebrows and drew that pushback from Second Amendment supporters and many on the right, which I think further put the White House in crisis mode, where they had to make some big changes, which is what we saw today.
All right, thanks, Casey. Let's switch gears now to Iowa, where President Trump will be discussing affordability and the economy as he speaks to U.S. farmers who have been impacted by the tariffs. Now, this comes ahead of the midterm elections. What are we anticipating now as the president is going to start taking to the road as we move toward the midterm elections?
And that's right. White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles said we can expect a speech like this every week in the foreseeable future, which I think you're exactly right. This is really leading up to the midterms. Republicans, especially the Trump administration, are concerned about losing that majority. We've seen that incumbent presidents have struggled to hold on, particularly to their House majority while in office. So it's going to take a lot of work if Republicans want to keep that. Now, he's speaking in Clive, Iowa, and that's strategic for a couple of reasons. One, the president's ongoing on and off love-hate relationship with China and their trade deal, although there's not much love there, but the trade war that's been on and off there has hit farmers particularly hard because some of the tariffs have made farming, not just food, prices affected, but farming material, like repair parts and different things have increased those costs. And we've also seen China retaliating on the U.S. in this trade war by refusing to buy American products like soybeans. And of course, China is a huge market. And so that's hit farmers hard. So President Trump is going there to shore up the base. It's a very red area, of course, but he is, propelled by people like the farmers, like the working class that he is famous for garnering their attention. But this is really, as much as there'll be economic talk tonight, Tony, this is very much so a political speech, as we are now somehow back in election season.
Yeah, it seems like we never get out of it. Casey, thanks so much. Appreciate the update on what's been happening.